Welcome, everyone. I call to order this meeting of the South Kingstown Town Council. It's a regular session meeting. It is 7:31 p.m. It is May 26th. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Council President Howe.
Here.
Council Vice President Neal. Here. Councilwoman Clark.
Here.
Here.
Here. Great. Our first order of business is item 1 on the agenda. The we did the work session, is Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Today, we'd like to call up Logan Pierce from Troop 1 Kingston to lead us. If you just come forward, and everybody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, I took the roll call out of order there. On to item 4 on our agenda, it's the approval of the minutes of previous meetings. Item 4A is work session, May 11th. Do we hear a motion?
I move approval of the work session of May 11th, 2015, and the regular session of May 11th, 2015, those minutes.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. And item B is for the regular session of May 11th, 2015. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you? All right. Consent agenda, item 5.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
So moved. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
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 That carries unanimously as well. That takes care of licenses. Item 7 on our agenda tonight is communications, and letter B is a resolution adopted May 12th, 2015 by the Exeter West Greenwich Regional School Committee in support of House Bill H5861 and Senate Bill S743, acts relating to criminal offenses, weapons that would repeal certain exemptions to the prohibition of possession of weapons on school grounds. It's been received and placed on file. What shall we do with it?
We discussed this at the work session, and I would make a motion that we continue this till the next scheduled meeting so that I can deliver information to the other town council members regarding the House bill and the Senate bill that relates to carrying a concealed weapon on a school property. Obviously, it's carrying a concealed weapon with a permit, but these particular bills are trying to close that loophole so that the only exception would be for police officers. In any event, I will move this to give more information to my fellow council members, and I ask that we place it on the next scheduled agenda.
Second that.
We have a second. So moved. Any comments? I was under the understanding that somebody might come to speak to us about this resolution tonight. Is there anybody in the audience here to speak on this? Okay. In that case, all in favor of the motion to place this on file?
Aye.
Aye. No, not on file. To continue it for, to the next
Sorry.
scheduled session. I'd also like to comment that the school committee, the South Kingstown School Committee, is considering this exact resolution themselves on June 9th.
All right, so let's go through that vote again. All in favor of continuing this until our next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. Item C on the agenda is a communication dated May 18th, 2015 from Mary C. McDonald submitting her resignation from the Library Board of Trustees, and it's been received and placed on file.
I would ask that we accept Mary McDonald's tendering of her resignation, and I would ask that Dale send a thank you letter for the time that she has served.
I'll second that.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. Thank you to Mary McDonald. Item E under communications is a communication dated May 20th, 2015 from Rose Russo, Yoga School of South County, concerning their use of studio space at the Peacedale office building. It's been received and placed on file. And what will we do with this communication?
I move to place communication E on file.
Second.
So moved. Would anybody from the council like to address this communication?
Terry, maybe you could come up and tell us what happened at the Recreation Commission?
Yes, the Recreation Commission meeting was held on May 18th, and at that meeting, the yoga school was on the agenda as an agenda item. It was discussed in terms of the appeal for the independent contractor to remain in the space at the Peacedale office building that was allocated to them to run yoga classes. The Rec Commission at that time renewed their support of the department's recommendation that was made in November during the budget planning season to reassign space for the yoga program in order to reallocate program space for the art program. There was some discussion. There were 5 or 6 members of the public there that presented public comment, and when all was said and done, the Rec Commission maintained their support for the reallocation of space because of the activity level of the art program versus what's happening with the space there now, which is very little activity.
Thank you.
Terry. Any other questions for Terry?
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there members from the public who wish to speak about this communication?
Rose Russo, North Kingstown. I just want to say again, everything we did over the years in the space was, our goal was service to the community. Having exclusive use of the space and the improvements we made to the space in the end were all about our desire to serve the community. And I believe the community has spoken out through emails to you, through a petition that was done, through speaking at these meetings and other meetings that we have served the community. And I think how that's measured is difficult because I believe a lot of people are using the program and not showing up in the numbers. So I think that's an issue. But again, all we did in that space was to serve the community. And I believe that there is a consensus in the community that the care and the concern evidenced by Richard and myself to the space has been valuable. People that come to the space, people in the park, people throughout the community recognize that we have been incredibly devoted to caring for the space in order to create a quality program that has served the community, a quality yoga program. The town's allowing us to have exclusive use of the space allowed us to create a very quality program. In the end, that ability to have exclusive use has, become the issue. And what we were offered to continue was unacceptable because the town no longer can offer exclusive use. So what was offered, we would not be able to sustain the quality and the integrity of our program. So we could have continued, but we would have had to degrade the program and not offer a quality program. So it seems that the department is unable to sustain the level of quality we've achieved. And again, people do use it. They don't use it maybe the way other programs use it, but people have learned yoga and they have incorporated it into their life. They're lifelong learners, and they've relied on the space as a place to come back to. So in the end, we are looking for what we believe we deserve. And we put into the building, we put into the space, and we believe we deserve some sort of compensation for the efforts we made so that we can continue to serve the community. And I think that's all I have to say.
Hello, my name is Charlie Sampson. I've been living in South Kingstown for about 40 years. My defense here or discussion is going to have two parts to it. Number one part is going to be just quickly, as a user, try to explain the difference from their yoga compared to any other place that I've been. I've been doing yoga for over 25 years, let's say, but the most unique part about their yoga school was it was pure yoga. It was not All That Matters does a lot of activities and does yoga, and they do yoga more as a physical exercise and an entertainment. Yoga goes beyond that. As a medical physician, I was amazed as to, if you really get into yoga and you do it regularly, it becomes almost like a religion. And I know that the Catholic Church, having discussions with my wife and the priest, they're not fully behind yoga because they believe that people who are true practitioners almost take it as a religion. I don't look at it that way. I look at it more as simply a control of your being, your existence. Literally, almost everything you do in life is sort of based upon a proper movement, a proper function, and a proper state of mind. That said, real quickly, I'm just saying that it was always a unique experience. Richard had spent his whole life really getting into the total yoga picture, not just the physical exercise. Rose is probably by far the most capable physical practitioner that I ever worked with. But Richard pushed the real total picture of yoga. So it's just, their school was definitely unique, and I've been to multiple different schools. Now, the second part Richard had asked me to talk about is when they first moved from the Guild building to the lower building, and I'm sorry, I don't even know the name of the other building. We had done a lot of work. The basement essentially was a basement that was completely unimproved. It was dusty. It was falling down. There was brick walls in it. We took out one whole wall in a week's time with hammers and chisels, etc., and then took all the rubble out. And then obviously there was a lot of other work done. So all I know is that in my participation in what I saw, and I know that Richard had spoken to some other people that had done other work like painting and so forth, that, as I understand or believe, like this is so many years ago for me, they put down a whole new wooden floor. All the walls were redone. The place was painted. And obviously the biggest project was the initial cleaning up. It was just really a basement that had been left for years and years in quite dirty and dusty, et cetera. So there was this thing, and it's hard for me to try and explain this, but he also wanted me, I brought a letter that I had written in 2002 for Richard Toohey to be nominated to this thing called the Yoga Alliance, which is all the big wigs. And it was a long letter, but he had specifically asked me about the last paragraph. Is I had a terminal diagnosis in 2002, and I had written a letter to this Yoga Alliance, and the last paragraph basically just sort of explained that in 2002, this was the second terminal diagnosis I had been given. One was a cancer one, and then the second one was another illness. And I think that if I wasn't in the right frame of mind with yoga, I would have become depressed. The truth is, I've been the happiest guy in the world for the last 12, 13 years. I've been totally free. I've been on disability, which is not the greatest thing, but it was impractical for me to work with the terminal diagnosis that I had. And the situation was, yoga gave me the true yoga, not just the physical exercise, but the true yoga that I had gotten with Richard Toohey was basic, what I think kept me out of depression totally. And I was very happy with what they did. As far as what their goal now is obviously to relocate somewhere and to have the ability to set the place up and fix it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Richard Toohey again. I just wanted to say what Rose, just to reiterate that the service to the communities is the utmost goal of what we were trying to achieve. And again, bears mentioning that I was a volunteer at the Senior Center in South Kingstown for 15 years. And part of our program was that if I couldn't make it, one of our teachers would be there Monday morning, 10:30, to work with the seniors. Didn't miss many Mondays in 15 years. And we'd like to continue. I gave notice at the South Kingstown. Regretfully, I didn't do it in any derision or anything. I'm just moving on. We're moving on. We've accepted that. It's unfortunate, but we are moving on, and I accept that. And it's been mentioned numbers, and I'm sure the taxpayers are quite happy that there's a program that's replacing us that's going to triple the income for the community. So we're moving on, and respectfully ask, I have lists of hours, invoices from electricians that we've paid for out of pocket. And again, with our hastily due date to exit, which is tomorrow, we haven't had much time to put together a comprehensive one, but I have some figures and invoices. But I'd like to present those, and just whatever the council would feel that was fair. We've been advised it's quantum merit, what we deserved, as Rose said, and so we can go on. Maybe a portion, an estimate, or whatever. We've asked people to see the space and the work we did, and it's been done through a lot of participants. Charlie didn't mention hours or anything, but he spent many hours contributing because of his experience with the school, and we became friends. just somewhat with the vehicle and the resources that he did contributed. And my good friend, I asked him to show up tonight. He's my best friend. He's a commercial fisherman, lives in South Kingstown. He offered his truck, his F-150, 400 miles, as moving granite that was part of the school in its construction. And I called up the granite quarry where we got it, and it's $75 an hour, times 4 hours, times 8 hours. And I mean, those prices we incurred. And the granite is out there, cemented. We can't take it away with us. And it's for the permanent improvement of the town. And we spend our life savings and everything. So if we can recoup some portion of that and move on, that's what we're at that junction I think we're asking for respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public here to speak on this issue? Or any comments from the council then? I would just say that I don't believe the council has a process or even necessarily the authority to take action on offering compensation on a matter like this. I do think we're all grateful for the services that the yoga school has provided to the town to this point, and I wish you all well finding a space that works for you and for your business. And I'm ready to vote on this. All in favor of placing it on file, say aye.
Aye.
Right, that carries unanimously. And that brings us to item 8 on our agenda, all right, which is comments from interested citizens. And this is your opportunity to come and up to the podium, tell us how we're doing our jobs, how we can do them better, or what you like about it. Just say your name into the microphone and where you're from. Okay. Any comments from members of the council? I'd just like to say welcome back, Meg. It's been
thank
Oh, yes, welcome back, Meg.
I feel like it's been forever, but it's so good to be back. Thank you. And I do, if you'll just give me 30 seconds, I really want to very humbly thank everybody in the community who sent me so many well wishes and so many phone calls. I'm on the mend and out of the woods. One more surgery and I'll be back on track. So thank you to everybody who was so involved and so kind to me. Myself and my family appreciate it.
If I could, Abel, I also would like to thank the parade committee and our Parks and Rec committee that worked so hard and did such a great job on the parade this year. There was a beautiful Memorial Day parade and service at Saugatucket Park yesterday, and they certainly worked very hard, and it showed. It was a great day.
I agree. I'd like to also thank Parks and Recreation. Terry, you worked very hard. Steve Stewart, he did a great job. All the vets who came out, the bands. It was a wonderful day for a parade, and thank you all for your service to all the veterans and their families out there.
Yes, indeed. All right, and with that, we can move on to the town manager's report.
I have nothing other than the 2 reports that have been issued since the last meeting. Be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Steve, I have a question I meant to ask you in the work session. Miscellaneous items 2, letter F, the application for the Route 1 Scenic Highway designation.
Yes,
So the question I have, I read the narrative. It seems that there are over 400 abutters to the highway. There's a pretty intense hearing process before the application is approved. Is that how it goes, or?
yes, I think the main thing that we wanted to give to the council first was an orientation as to how this whole process would unfold. And if the council wanted, we could have a work session on it before we would ask for the full public hearing. The main thing that I want to convey is that if you have the approval for that scenic highway, you also have the potential for a use plan that puts restrictions on it, on some
Right.
portions of that, which then intrudes on property rights. And rather than have this come through as, gee, this is an easy thing to do, we wanted to make sure that the council was aware that there are strings here. Certainly, the strings are prepared locally and have to be approved by the council. But there could be conditions that would be suggested, similar to what happened with Ministerial Road, where there were setback requirements and vegetation removal that was restricted. I think the best thing that we could do is to get a feeling from the council on whether they wanted to schedule for a public hearing, or in advance of the public hearing, schedule for a work session to have planning make a presentation so that you could get questions answered before it goes to the public hearing process.
Right. I guess my only point, I'm certainly in favor of a scenic highway. I would just want to be sure that there's a process in place that people that would be affected by the conditions had plenty of opportunity to have input.
I think that you would be appointing with the planning board the committee that would be working on what conditions or restrictions would be put forward. But I think that that's something in the public hearing process that you could stipulate as to how you wanted to handle it. Because I agree, I think that the concept is great. I want to make sure that the public is aware and has an ample opportunity to be able to participate in that discussion.
If it's at the expense of their property rights, they should have a lot of input.
Or to know what type of property rights restrictions would be there. You know, a major portion of that roadway has got a freeway line, and with a freeway line, there's no penetration access available to it. So if, for those areas there may be very little condition or restriction other than vegetation removals. But those are the things, that's the detail that I think needs to really come out before you can make a good decision. We could schedule it, as I say, in one of two ways. Either have a work session or schedule for the public hearing. We could put an order of notice on for the next council meeting to schedule a public hearing for this at a future council meeting. Those type of questions that you have, Joe, could be asked at that
Sure.
point, and if you're uncomfortable, then we don't proceed. I think if we had a work session first and then a full, we'd really end up with the same presentation twice. So if the council is in agreement that they want us to schedule it for a public hearing, then we could do that sometime with the next meeting or the following meeting. I'm not sure if there's other council members that have the same question.
I'm prepared to go forward with a public hearing process, but
Or if that's the case, then what I'll have, planning draft the necessary language for the order of notice for that. And I'll have Dale put that on with the next agenda.
Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to bring
Nope,
that up
thank you.
myself.
and the town solicitor's report?
Unless there are questions, I have nothing.
All right.
I have no questions, Counselor.
Are there, this brings us to item 11, appointments. I don't believe we have any.
I think we did a
Pending.
lot of appointments the last meeting, didn't
Yeah, I
we?
think we're
Caught up.
there. And that brings us to item 12, which is new business. Item A is a resolution authorizing tax collection procedures, as shown on Exhibit 1, attached to your agenda.
Exhibit 1 establishes what the maximum tax levy will be for the 2015-16 year. These resolutions are done based on the charter requirements that allow for a petition for a referendum. Since that period has gone by, we know that the town council's adopted budget is the official budget of the town. So we also know that the $68,500,000 is what the minimum requirements are. We add a $20,000 margin on the base amount that's necessary, since we're going to be going 3 places after the decimal as far as the tax rate is concerned. The resolution also provides what's allowed under state law to allow for quarterly payment of taxes. It sets the quarterly payment dates as August 1, November 1, February 1, and May 1st for the quarter. It also provides the opportunity for people to pay the entire amount prior to September 1st without penalty. It also establishes a $100 minimum as far as the option of going with a quarterly payment. So any tax bill which is levied of less than $100 would need to be paid by the September 1 date. It also provides the necessary resolutions for the hiring of money. Candidly, some of these further resolves are somewhat old, and we have never hired money during the time that I've been involved with the town, so I don't see that coming. But each of these resolutions are to provide the finance director also with the authorization to handle the finances of the town on a day-to-day basis. So I'd ask council to approve the resolution as presented as Exhibit 1.
Motion to approve agenda item 12A.
Second?
So moved. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. And that brings us to 12G, a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Salzon Corporation, 119 Drum Hill Road in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, for 4 mobile computer tablets in an amount not to exceed $17,300, including a contingency of $839, and is further described in a memorandum from the police chief to the town manager dated May 19th, 2015, and entitled Bid Recommendation, Mobile Computer Tablets.
As I noted in the pre-session with the council, we're looking to experiment with 4 units. Recommendation is to go with the lowest qualified bidder.
I move approval of new business item 12G.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously as well. And it brings us to 12H, a resolution rescinding an award of bid authorized on June 9th, 2014 to Inland Waters, Inc. of 275 Situate Avenue, Johnston, Rhode Island, for on-call stormwater and sanitary sewer infrastructure cleaning and video services, and is further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated May 18th, 2015, and entitled Bid Recommendation, On-Call Stormwater and Sanitary Sewer Infrastructure Cleaning and Video Services.
Contract was awarded last year at this time. We have failed to be able to get the contractor in to do any of the work. We're asking that you rescind the contract. We've also gone out to bid, as is seen in item I, to provide for a replacement company to be able to do the necessary work.
I would entertain a motion to take H and, or G,
Aye.
sorry, H and I together.
I move approval of new business items 12H and I.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. And it brings us to item 12K, a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Hart Engineering Corporation, 800 Scenic View Drive, Cumberland, Rhode Island, to furnish and install a 4th pump at the Silver Lake Pump Station and a generator set at the Kingston Pump Station in a total amount not to exceed